Okay, good morning everyone. At least it's morning here. I wanted to do a review of the MJR Tumbler. Everything that I've seen online, it's the unboxing of it and what it's like in the beginning and how great it is, but nobody shows you 6 months later what it looks like or what happens. And I'm not on here to complain about it, just to tell you about it, because it is great. You can tumble a lot of rocks. Rocks or glass. I use it for glass. And when I got it, this canister or barrel was completely red. I'm not really sure why they paint it red, because the red doesn't stay on. It wipes off onto these, and this is actually a replacement one that I received. So you don't see a lot of red on this because the majority of it was already tumbled off when I got this. So I've had this MJR tumbler for 6 months now. What you do is you fill it 2/3 of the way with glass or rocks or whatever, and then just over the top of the glass or rocks or parts, whatever you have in there, with water. And then you put the grit in according to the instructions. I put a little less grit in. I use a more coarse grit, 36. And I think they say 60 to 90, but I find that the 36 really tumbles it a lot faster. And I don't put it through the glass through any polishing thing. I just tumble it. Anyway, so this is the tumbler. This is the top that goes on it, like this, and then you tighten it with a screwdriver in the side, and it makes it nice and tight. I have had it leak before when I haven't tightened it enough, but that was my fault. So my suggestion is there's little slots here that hold the motor in place. So if you're going to put, when you put this on, instead of putting the opening this way, in case for some reason it leaks, you should have the opening that way. That way the water would go this way instead of down into the motor. The great thing about it, again, is that it tumbles a lot of rocks. You can buy different barrels to go with it. You can get one small one, you can get 2 medium ones that can tumble side by side. You can even do 3 of them at the same time. But for me, I tumble all the same, so it made sense to just get this one. So the other thing is, the bad thing about it is you have to spray it every single day with this white lithium blaster, or it voids the warranty. So you have to spray in all the little spots here. And this is the cleaned up version of it, and it still looks messy to me. It gets so messy, and wherever you have it, you need to have some kind of paper under it or whatever, because it is a big mess in the garage. So about 4 months in, no problems, doing great. And then I started having to put less and less glass in here because it wasn't turning. So I called MJR Tumblers, and somebody said, I got a response right away. They said, it sounds like your belt is loose. So they told me how to tighten the belt, which was real simple. There's 2 screws on the top, and you just actually push it back. You move the motor back. So to tighten the belt, you remove the screws from the side panel and remove the side panel. On the side, you can see the belt and the motor, and then you can see the 2 screws on top that hold the motor in place. What you have to do is unloosen those top screws, and it'll allow you to shift the motor back and tighten the belt by doing that. Once you get it in the position you want, then you tighten the screws back up, and the belt will be tight, and then you replace the side panel. And then after 5 months, it was doing it again, but there was nowhere to push it back to. The screws were pushed back as far as they could possibly go, so I called and I said, well, I don't understand what's wrong with it. It won't go back any further. And they couldn't get the owner to respond, and I emailed pictures and he still didn't respond. And the lady on the phone, I don't know, she was very nice and everything, but she said, why don't you just mail it in and then we'll give it a once over and send it back to you. I said, well, if I mail it in, I mean, that's gonna cost me $50, which it did. It cost $47 to ship it. And I shipped it, and because I couldn't get them to get on the phone to answer my questions. So I shipped it to them. It was there for about 2 weeks and nobody, called or said anything. I said, could you tell me what's wrong? Are you gonna send it back? And the lady shipped it back. She says, I'm gonna ship it today. And so she actually went into the shop, I guess, and got it and shipped it back. But what they shipped me was a totally different tumbler. This part was totally new. The motor is different than the old motor that I had. It didn't look like a new motor, and I'll show you in the pictures why I don't think it was a new one, but it works. So when I got it back, this was sticking out like this, and if you look at the motor, you can tell it's not a new motor, but it is not the same motor that I sent over there. So I don't know if they gave me somebody else's old motor. It seems to work fine, but it wasn't secure in there. And if you tried to push it back so that it doesn't stick out, so the plate can be adjusted so it's the way it's supposed to be flat, then the metal bracket there covers those air holes, and we were afraid to do that. So you can see how this sticks out. It's supposed to go back like that, but you can't push it back because then the bracket will cover the air hole, see? And the other thing, when I received it, the belt was not tight either, so it had not been tested to make sure it worked properly, as far as I know. So we pushed the motor back so that the belt would be tight, and then we tightened the screws up so it would work properly. So the other thing was there was this big dent in it, so I don't know if it was somebody else's that they had returned it or what exactly happened, but it really doesn't affect the functioning of it. So I just leave it open like that, and I don't think it's supposed to be like that, but I don't know, what it hurts. So anyway, it comes with a 2-year warranty on any defects, and the complaints that I heard online, and there were few, were that somebody said that the neck of it wore through, that there was holes on the neck of it, and I don't see anything. It really seems solid. And then other people complained that they said this was rubber lined. I don't feel the rubber, but that the bottom wore through. So I don't know. This does shift. So when you have the tumbler on, the barrel will shift to one end. So I don't know if maybe it kept on rubbing against the end. Now I do see how they have these little white plastic caps here now. So maybe that prevents it from rubbing. Maybe they've had problems, multiple problems with that. So they put this on, because I've seen some of the old tumblers on videos online and they did not have these little white caps here. So maybe that was put on there to protect the bottoms. I don't know, against rubbing. The other thing that it talks about, it has some built-in thermo overload. I don't know if that means if it overheats, it'll shut off automatically. Now mine runs in the garage, and I live here in Florida, and we're in South Florida, so it is hot. It is September now, and it's still 88, close to 90 degrees every day, and the garage gets even hotter than that with the doors closed. And I've had no problems with, any heat overload or shutting down or anything like that. So the other thing was, so after I got the tumbler back, I emailed them asking about why this was sticking out, and it must not have been tested before it was sent. and showed, sent pictures of how that little prong is sticking out so you can't push this back in. And it's been a month now and no response. So I'm sure if I called them, I would be able to talk to the lady, but she was having trouble before getting him on the phone when I mailed this in. So I don't know. Anyway, the other thing about it, the only other con, which really isn't that big of a deal to me, is there's no on-off switch on the cord. So you just plug it in and unplug it, which really isn't a big deal. But all in all, I'm really happy with it. And I have ordered another tumbler from a different company, which hopefully I'm going to get in a couple weeks. I forget what the name is, but maybe I'll do an unboxing video of that. So it says add an ounce of grit for every pound of barrel size. So mine's a 30-pound tumbler. You're supposed to add 30 ounces. I don't know. I add about a cup, and I add the 36 grit. I use the 36 grit, and it works fine. And actually, I've been emptying it every 4 days now. I was waiting a whole week, now every 4 days. So this can be used for polishing brass casings and also can be used for tumbling rocks. And the few videos that I did see online, the guy was tumbling rocks. So I've not really seen, in the majority of the videos where they talk about it, it's just an unboxing, nothing after 6 months. So I hope this helps you. I'm going to show you what the back of this looks like. It's got a bunch of wires sticking out there. I don't know how well you can see. So I know this is a different motor because on the other motor, you couldn't see the wires and there was nothing on the bottom here. And you'll see in the other pictures that I send you. So that's what the other side looks like. And it is a little bit noisy, but it sits out in the garage so it doesn't bother us. I don't have anything in it now, but I'll show you how it goes. And of course, if it has rocks or glass or whatever in it, it's going to be even noisier. Now it's totally empty. But all in all, I really like the tumbler. Here's a sped up version of me cracking up the glass, putting it in the tumbler, and the final results. Hope this video helped you and hope you enjoy. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. I usually give the glass a second rinse in the sink, and then I lay them out on a towel to dry. And after they've dried, I use a little baby oil on my hands and rub them all over the glass to get rid of the frost that's on them from the grit. A lot of people like the frosted look. It looks more realistic sea glass. but I like it a little bit shinier. It does absorb in after a while, and some of the frost does come back.